Yes, we decided to watch a certain movie that has kind of gotten a bad rep over the last 30 plus years, and we thought, well, this movie can't be that bad. But DB found out that was not the case with Ishtar.
Ishtar, the movie that okay, so you know how there are just famously good and famously bad movies, and you're kind of a weirdo if you disagree with the consensus.
Yes, yeah.
I went into this totally willing to be the weirdo who said, "No, Ishtar wasn't too bad." People were just mean to it. They just weren't ready for it. You know what? They were just trying for a Bob Hope and Bing Crosby style road to blank movie 15, 20 years after the expiration date, and everyone was just too mean to it. No, like I watched the first half hour of it. I actually rented the darn thing because it wasn't on a streaming service I had access to.
Ah.
And even the threat of wasted money could not make me want to keep watching past the half hour mark.
Yeah, don't you know there's somebody working at wherever it was that you were where you rented the movie that was like, what idiot rented Ishtar?
Yeah. Right. We only have it up here on the Xbox servers because we have a deal with who's I think this was a Columbia film. Okay, so it's
Okay.
Sony Movie Pictures these days.
Yeah.
So the problem I identified with it's got a couple. First off, so Ishtar is basically a story of two failing musicians who get a job playing music in a flailing Middle Eastern country, which is named Ishtar, which is located somewhere near Morocco. And there's something about there's something about a prophecy that I didn't watch long enough to see paid off, but they set it up. So it stars Dustin, Hoffman, and Warren Beatty, like I said. Hoffman is kind of the leader. Beatty is barely present in the movie, honestly.
Oh. Yeesh.
And the idea is that I think where this movie is just so fundamentally painful, intentional cringe is like the hardest thing to pull off. Because the joke for a lot of it is that these two are bad musicians who can't write good music. Like they get the alcoholic agent who comes and sees them, and they say, "Oh, yeah, we're not really singers. We're singer songwriters. You know, we make our own music." And the movie is also kind of laid out strangely, at least to start with, because you first see them meeting up with this agent who offers them this, who after seeing them bomb out in a performance, offers them this job. Well, it's either you can get I'm going to make up numbers here. You can get 900 a month if you go down to Honduras and play for the troops, or you can get 3,000 a month if you go play in Ishtar. And of course, Dustin Hoffman's character is very distraught at this idea because he thought he was going to make it big in the States. So he goes to a bar and then he flashes back to where he met Warren Beatty's character. And so we get like the two of them meeting up in a long, drawn out sequence that involves them. They destroy their lives for their musical dream. Their wives and girlfriends leave them because they're just, they meet up and they're just too devoted to it, and they just aren't getting anywhere. And Hoffman attempts suicide, but Beatty pulls him away from the window, away from the ledge.
Jeez.
None of this is actually okay. There was one laugh that I had, and it was a good laugh because it kind of gave me a hint of what could have been with these intentionally awful songs.
Yeah.
Because you had a bit where Hoffman, like, it's the day he meets Beatty's character. He's playing at this retirement home, and he says, "Oh, I'm here to see the Smiths. It's so great to see those two out there. I told them last year that when I saw them that I would write them a song if they came back next year. There they are. So here's that song. The song is basically something to the effect of, I'm leaving my love for you in the will. I'm setting something aside so that you're taken care of when I'm gone. And it's just so crass and like tone deaf that I couldn't help but laugh a bit.
Oh.
Like, here's the thing. If you're going to have it be that they're bad musicians, don't just have like most everything else was just tepid bad.
Yeah.
Like the type of songs that Barry Manilow would dream up, workshop for a weekend, and then toss up, right? Like that's
Yeah.
music we're going for here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And when I got to the actual story, it's just not good. And then, what's his name from Rush Hour, or not Rush Hour, from Midnight Run showed up.
Oh, yeah. Charles Grodin.
Yeah, Charles Grodin, who is not my favorite comedic actor, and he was not making any better case for himself here. So I just said, you know what? This is not our classic movie anymore. Out, banished. Far Side was right. This is the only movie that they have at the Hell rental store. There are not many movies we have started watching that we have just flat out given up on. So yeah. This thing has some sort of cultural reappraisal and cult following these days. Those people are contrarians, or they just have much higher tolerance for cringe than I do.
Yeah. Oh, man. And yeah, Arco says based on the cover, he assumes that the movie was funded by Camel cigarettes. Oh, probably. It's funded by somebody.
Well, this was a Columbia film. I forget if Sony had bought them by this point.
I think they had. Yeah.
Well, I'm reminded of somebody discussing with one of the executives there when they're looking to buy it. Okay, look, the way the movie business works is every year we'll have one big hit, and then for every 10 movies we make, we'll have one big hit, then we'll have 2 or 3 bombs, and then we'll have 6 or 7 that basically break even. And he just looks over it and goes, well, why don't you just make nothing but hits? And well, somebody thought this was a good idea at some point in the process, and boy, I hope they were fired over that one.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Well, I did not subject myself to this movie because as DB pointed out, he pulled the ripcord and said, "No, we're not watching this." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That's one of the behind the scenes things that you don't often see, is that we do each have veto power, and we have both exercised it at times.
Yes.